Hi, Calvary Chapel family. We're coming to you to talk to you about what's going on in terms of reopening the church and the COVID-19 stuff. So I just want to let you know that myself and Board of Elders, Directors, we've been praying about this for the last several weeks, and we've been doing things to inform ourselves or get information about what should we do and how we should do it. We've been on calls with the State Department of Health and their folks. We've talked to some people who are involved in government and church and their recommendations about what we should do. We've met with a group of Calvary Chapel pastors and also some non-Calvary Chapel pastors, and have been praying about it and thinking about it, and here's what we've come up with. We are going to have a limited in-person attendance on Wednesday, May 20th at 7 p.m., our midweek study. And then the next in-person attendance service will be May 27th. So in other words, for the next 2 Wednesdays, we're going to start meeting in person, but we're going to do it according to the guidelines. As most of you know, obviously we are asked in the Bible, we're commanded in the Bible, it talks about in the Bible that we should not forsake assembling together. We should be people who are in fellowship and come together, and we know that. And yet in another place in the Bible, it talks about us honoring the governing authorities, and we've been trying to do that, or have been doing that. And so, and thankfully, we live in a country that allows us freedom of worship, and we can worship. And so we're taking all of those things into consideration, as well as, and most importantly, we've been praying about it. What the leadership have come up with is those 2 Wednesdays, Wednesday, May 20th, Wednesday, May 27th. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the sanctuary a little bit different. We're going to set it up so that we we will be social distancing here in the sanctuary. We're asking that if you come, that we're encouraging you to wear masks, okay? And but know in wearing masks that there are going to be some people in here who aren't wearing masks. And so we want to let you know that, because there's some people very much for masks, some people very much against masks, and if you go out on social media or some other places, there are people who are arguing about that. So here's what we suggest. If you feel strongly either way, and you can't be in the presence of someone either way, with or without a mask, we just simply ask you to stay home on that, because what we don't want to do is come together and argue and fight, and we're not going to have that. So we'll have the sanctuary set up so we social distance. We're asking you to wear masks. We're going to shut the side door. Now think about that. We're going to shut the side door, and we're only going to come in the front door. We're not really going to fellowship much in the fellowship hall, or if at all, we're just going to come up into the sanctuary, and we'll be here, and we can talk before the service, but from a distance, and then we're going to worship. Now, in some of the guidelines, as the state has is moving us from red to yellow, and then hopefully sometime in the future to green, we have been looking at those guidelines, and there's some suggestion in there that you can't have 25 people in one area, but the problem is they don't really define one area. They also have said on several of these calls that churches are essential, and so essential businesses are allowed to have 50% of their capacity. So what does that mean? That means we're going to separate the place. We're going to wear masks if we can. Some of us won't be wearing masks. We're going to come in the front door. We'll clean this place thoroughly on Saturday, and then we're going to clean it after you leave, okay? So remember some things here. The last time we had in-person church, some of these things were ramping up. And we asked people to stay home who were sick. And I just got to be honest with you, that didn't happen that day. There were several people here in the church who were sick and shouldn't have been here. And so we're asking you now to be really an adult about this and to not come if you're sick. That also leads me to another thing. Within the guidelines that the state has sent to us or sent to everybody, they're very concerned about protecting the vulnerable. And here's what they say. People 65 years and older and or people with serious underlying health conditions, including high blood pressure, chronic lung disease, diabetes, asthma, and those whose immune system is compromised such by chemotherapy should remain sheltered in place until after the final wave has been completed, and they should limit their public exposure. I misspoke there. So those are the categories that the state is asking that everyone abide by. Now let's talk about that for a second. No one here is trying to exclude anyone. No. In fact, we love you guys. If you've been around here for 10 minutes or more, I think what you would say is we try to include everybody in all the things that we're doing and to make people feel loved. And we do love you, and we're not excluding anybody or anything like that. These are just guidelines that the government has said help prevent the spread. And so while we're balancing assembling together, which is our right, versus honoring the governing authorities, we should take those things into account. Now, so we're trusting you. We're trusting you to do what's right in that area. And so we're going to try this for 2 Wednesdays. And after that second Wednesday, we're going to get back together. We're going to see how many people come, don't come. And we're going to evaluate then when we're going to move forward, if we're going to move forward, or when we're going to move forward with respect to Sunday services. So that begs the question, what happens with the other activities that go on around here? Well, we're going to keep everything on Zoom for 2 more weeks. Whatever it is, men's fellowship, women's fellowship, youth group stuff, home fellowships, we're going to keep those on Zoom, and then we're going to evaluate after. A couple of things that impacts is we are going to move our vision clinic that was scheduled here for May 26th, and we're going to try and move that back. We're working on that now. The other thing it impacts so far as a board and talking with the leaders of Narrow Way, Narrow Way is not going to happen in the summer as it did last summer. That's not going to happen. But into the fall, we're going to do some other things, some one-day events and other things like that, and then we're going to gear up for the summer of 2021, okay? So I know several of you have been asking about that. Now, no one's more sad about that than I am, and so we're sorry about that, but we just feel like that's what is best. So again, here's what we're going to be when we get back together. Can we just do this? Let's just be kind. I know there's strong feelings on both sides, things about what we can do and what we can't do. But when we get here, let's just be kind to each other and love one another. And so let's be patient and all those sorts of things. So if you have anything that you need to talk about, or you have some concerns or some questions, you can call us at the church. Please give us a call at the church or email us at the church, and we'll do that. So, in summary, we're going to start back up, ease into it next Wednesday, May 20th, 7 p.m. We're going to take about 2 weeks, and we're going to look at what it looks like. And then after that, we're going to reevaluate and move forward in what the Lord's leading us. But we want you to know this. We love you, and we care for you, and we're praying for you. And we're excited to see you soon. God bless you guys.